This is how we built an AI startup in just 48 hours during last weekend's hackathon. This is where I want to share every product decision and tech choice we made as a non-technical couple who just recently got engaged and is now building their wedding planner of dreams. This is going to be a chill one. You can just read, watch, or listen to. Not many interaction, but lots of storytelling and explainer how a non-technical team has made decisions over a hackathon. I'm sure you have heard the term scratch your own itch, very popularized by Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson in their book Getting Real and later in Rework. And what it means that one of the best things you can do as a founder is finding a problem that you're really annoyed by and solve it yourself because no one else is getting it done. And this is what happened here. Christina, after we said, hey, we're going to get married, she went crazy into research. For weeks, she looked for the right location. She used several apps like Bridebook and WedStay, but there was always something she didn't like. There were hundreds of locations. There was very little personalization. There were many mainstream catalogs. And so she was not closer to getting the dream location she always wanted. Actually, she found one, but it took her weeks. And if you just look at this little Google Maps search, there is an infinite amount of options. But is it the right thing for us? And location is just one of many things you have to think about. So we ask ourselves the question, how would this look like in an AI world? We have seen many places where normal apps got turned into a complete AI version of itself. For example, Intercom was a good solution for customer support with these little chat bubbles you often see in the lower right corner. But now they introduced Fin, a completely AI-powered support solution where you as a customer only pay for closed tickets that no human has touched. So I was thinking like, how can we turn these generic catalogs not into the next like Airbnb for wedding, which WedStay already is, but into something that we would love to have and that we know would truly help the community of brides and grooms looking to plan their dream wedding. So then the hackathon came up. We discussed this idea maybe a few weeks out, like, oh, this could be a cool thing, but the time never showed up for us. So we said, during the Vibe Hackathon in Cologne, I'm going to be mentoring, but most of the time, we are going to sit together and build the wedding app of our dreams, at least the first version of it. So this timing was really nice. And today I want to reveal what happened and what did not happen. So we were scratching our own itch and really wondering, like, what is the product that we wanted to use? What if planning your wedding felt like talking to the most knowledgeable wedding planner in the world? Like talking to ChatGPT about most projects, but that didn't work out for us really well. There were too many limitations, and it always felt like we were just getting a very long conversation, not really a plan that is happening in the background. I started to call this plan like the wedding spec. Like technical people would talk about the definitions and function of a program where you have an idea like, I want to have everything clear, what the food is, what the dress code is, what the vibe is, the lights, the colors, the location, the dresses, and everything. It's all in my mind went into this spec, and I wanted to build something where all of this tacit knowledge that Christina had in her mind, and trust me, she had a lot of opinions, on how everything is supposed to look and feel like, to get this out and to use all of this information to build something that would be feeling at least as comfortable as ChatGPT while actually building a wedding spec. And here you can see what we built over the weekend. We have a complete SaaS app now here open on a big iMac, where we actually asked the AI after we talked about it a lot. Here on the right-hand side, you can see the spec on the location and everything. But then we ask it to visualize it. And within the chat, it actually managed to draw a picture of the wedding and the location that Christina had in her mind, the bride looking a little bit like her, the groom a little bit like me, and the appropriate amount of people in there, a nice atmosphere, and everything. And she was very astonished when she saw this image the first time. I'm going to share her perspective further down below. So we built this product vision that was significantly different than what we saw for Bridebook, what we saw for WedStay. And it was about having a conversational interface, but also the ability to very flexibly visualize things, do tasks, do research for us on the side. And we now have a long list of things that we wanted to build. But that was the initial idea, that we wanted to get to on the weekend. I quickly noticed that for every product requirement, I now was in the driver's seat to choose the right tech. So let me show you the 10 decisions I made in order to really make this product scalable long-term, but doable in a weekend. So decision number 1 was we knew we wanted to ship fast, but scale later. We also knew we would love to build a native mobile app later on out. So I knew already I wasn't truly happy with how I had things set up with pirateskills.com. I wanted to take the next step in my understanding in what's possible with Next.js. So I chose a pretty advanced starter template called NextForge, where there were very interesting opinionated choices, like splitting the website from the web app, from the API. It was good for me because I knew when I built the native app in the future, I have an API to talk to, so I don't have to rebuild everything because it's very Next specific. This is almost a bit more traditional, but using the best parts of Next immediately. I also knew that we didn't want to stick just to Germany. So we built everything with internationalization in mind and shipped in German and English from day one. Not sure I would recommend that for a hackathon, but I had fun with this. Decision number 2 was we didn't want to just have a chat conversation. We wanted to have a conversation that can actually do things for us, visualizing, researching, suggesting. And for that, I chose the AI SDK that is powered by the team from Vercel. And it's essentially like one central framework with a couple of add-ons I'm going to talk to you about in a second. But the main thing is it orchestrates multiple models. There is no need for me to change anything but one single line of code when I want to switch from something like Gemini to Claude or back, or use different models for the right job, because AI is expensive. If you do this at scale, you have to think about what is the cheapest model that still gets the job done. This is gonna do it for us. Then we wanted it to really feel like ChatGPT and Claude, a sophisticated chat experience, not something that feels just not right. Yeah, we are all so spoiled by great chat applications now. And so I chose AI Elements. That is also a part of the AI SDK, but it's like a component library with a whole chat frame, the messages, upload functions, model switchers, already well designed. And here's where I had to push back against the AI quite a few times. They wanted to build their own thing, but I wanted it to use these AI elements because I knew from experience in building the Captain, which is also a chat app with a model switcher, that if the AI builds those elements, it just doesn't feel as smooth as what I could build with this UI library. Next was I wanted to choose the right model for each job, as I said before, but where do those models come from? I used to use OpenRouter. I'm still a big fan, but for this project, because I kind of went down the Vercel rabbit hole, I wanted to go all in and also choose their product called the AI Gateway, where I have the most prominent models at my disposal, and it naturally has a very simple integration with AI SDK. So all of my token usage is also going to go through my Vercel billing. So I have one place where I need to source the data back, like cost information, usage, if we later want to have something like token consumption measured with credits. But right now we want to keep it simple. Then Number 5, we were all sure that talking was the way to actually communicate with a chat. It's much more natural way to express yourself. I speak about 10,000 words per week into my AI recorder, and I've done this for the last 50 weeks, so I love this. The only thing I'm missing with those recorders is real-time transcribing, where I actually can see my speech in text. And this is done really well by 11 Labs real-time Scribe V2 version, where you can speak and immediately see the text that you have been speaking, and it autocorrects while you're still speaking. It's fascinating to see and kind of guides my thoughts much more smoothly. Then number 6, one of the magic interactions beside the chat was being able to show the dream wedding, all aspects of it, like the entry, the location, the ceremony, the buffet, the seating. And for that, I chose to use the now popular Nano Banana image model hosted on a platform called fal.ai that is absolutely fantastic for agents to work with, and where I can switch again image and video generation models, similar to how I can do it with the AI Gateway and the AI SDK. So that fit perfectly like into the concept. Now I could actually build this dream experience that I had from a useful chat that visualize it. I thought this would be maybe the goal of the weekend. Then we have to store all of the wedding specs somewhere in the customer information. So we wanted to build up this memory system, and for that we choose a Neon database. That is a recommendation that came with the Next Forge template. So I usually would have taken like something like Superbase, but I've heard good things about Neon in the past, and that was a very, very simple install, and they allow over 100 free projects to get started. So I had an amazing experience with that. Maybe I'll upgrade to a paid tier later, but right now there was no reason to, and this is ideal for me for a hackathon. And we of course knew that there were multiple people involved in the wedding. Yeah, there are at least 2 people, but maybe a wedding planner and an actual bridesmaid. And all of those people need to connect to one account, and somebody needs to pay for it at some point. Everything needs to stay in sync. So we choose Clerk, that more has like a B2B, a multi-tenant mindset in providing authentication. So we use that. And now a bride can create the account, invite the groom, or a wedding planner could create an account and invite the couple into it. And it already feels very sophisticated, but it just came out of the box with Clerk. So that was really nice. Then number 9, we wanted to have payment from the get-go to see if people really like it. We wanted to offer like a 7-day or maybe a 3-day free trial. And if they love it, they could pay for it. For that, we chose Scribe as payment provider. That, to be honest, was a bit of overkill. I should have maybe focused a little bit more on reaching out, not building up all of the scaffolding during the hackathon, but it was fun and it worked really nice. Last but not least, our coding buddy for the weekend was Claude Code within Cursor. So Cursor is the IDE where you can see the code and all of the code changes. And Claude Code we used with a plugin to Cursor, and this is our main token monster. We have a 90 euro per month subscription there, and we both share it. And this was our coding buddy for the entire weekend. And we didn't have to upgrade, even though we hammered the tokens like crazy. But there's also a current happy hour going on with Anthropic. So I was very grateful to have that. So the setup we have chosen here very well fits with the level 4, which is the Corsair level in the AI skill path article I wrote last week. So if you're interested in seeing like how can you get to the level where you can use these tools that are described and beyond, then read this article. I think it gives you the best overview where to start, to see where you currently are and how to progress in this journey. Christina and I are also still at the beginning. I'm at it for a year. Christina, maybe 1 to 2 months. And we are noobs at this. We are all noobs. The word vibe coding is maybe like 12 months old. So we all have to realize we We are not perfect at this, and it takes a while to get to the level of understanding to build something like that. So how about we hear from Christina? This is the part of the article that I had her write. This is straight from her. You have to know, Christina has a psychology background similar to me, but she's not a nerd like me. She's an intuitive, creative person, pretty much the opposite of my very analytical mind. And she really had to make this experience herself. She said, okay, it's nice if people talk about this stuff, but you have to do it. And she said that at the hackathon, we were both vibe coding, and she was focusing a bit more on the design and shaping the product and how it looks and feels, but I was setting up the grunt work and the tech stack on the side. Then we switched monitors or our focus many times. I asked her, hey, can you look over here? Is this how you imagined this? I was looking on her monitor saying hey, how do you like this design? And we agreed on the direction we wanted to go in, and we were really happy with the outcome. We were both grinding the hackathon together, really trying to solve her frustration with the current existing solutions and building our own wedding app of our dreams. One of my favorite moments for her was when the visualization finally worked, and she was really super astonished to see this is how it could look like, and I don't like this and I don't like that, but this is great. And the AI understood it, made everything become more real and more visible, and it went from this tech project into our product that we are building. And I can tell you, for her, this was extremely freeing from being a user and limited by what's available in the market to actually building it herself. She said it was so freeing to be able to build something that was just for her, but knowing many other brides will enjoy this as well. When I asked her what she would love to build next, she's the AI-powered venue matching. She has been looking for this perfect villa for weeks. She found one. She now wants to find out if our smart AI system is going to be good enough to find that exact villa again. So let's do an honest recap of this weekend, because not everything went well. Yeah, there were many things that didn't work out as it planned. The AI kept on trying to do its own iterations of things that I provided clear guidance to, like the AI elements to be used. When I tried to push everything the first time from my machine where everything was working into production, everything blew up, nothing worked, and I had to deal with domain switching, environment variables, and redirect bugs until in the middle of the night in Saturday, everything started to work. But we didn't have the visualization thing there. And just 30 minutes on Sunday before the deadline, before I had to go on stage and moderate the demos and the prices, it finally worked, and we were so happy that we got to the version that you saw in the beginning. You can actually try this out. Yeah, it's live on bridesmaid.love. It's free to sign up for 7 days to use to test out. We are looking for your feedback, and especially if you really have ambitions to get married on some time horizon that is reasonable. And of course, there were things that we didn't get done. We just had a very light social media setup. We created the Instagram account, but we didn't post anything. So we also didn't post any ad campaigns. We didn't have a proper onboarding flow. And that hurts my marketer heart, especially because 2 weeks ago in the Pirate launch plan, I explained to you, build the magic interaction, then go out and get the first customers. But the magic interaction didn't work out in the time frame I had planned for the hackathon, because I wasted time on things like Scribe and Clerk and Superbase, which are all fine to have in the beginning. But if I would have just built the chat experience with the image generation, I would have had time to find the customers I'm now missing. But why stress out? It was enjoyable for once to be in the builder position, not to be the marketer. So I give myself a pass on this one. But on the next hackathon and for your thing, I would still recommend build the magic interaction first, see that, get the inspiration from that, and then do the marketing stuff. Scribe can wait. That is it. That was our experience for this hackathon. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can take something away. And most of all, it motivates to build your own app. really soon. If you want to go deeper, we got a couple of events coming up every single month. We do a Builder Lab where we talk about vibe coding, a Growth Lab about vibe marketing. Those 2 events are online and completely for free. Next month, in April, the next cohort of the Builder Forge is going to launch again. We have a little preparation event for that called the Forge Preview. If you're interested, the Builder Forge is our 6-week program in which you learn to build a SaaS like that with a tech stack very close to what I showed above. If you're interested in that, check it out. And if you want to learn how to market it, that is going on in the Growth Forge. Also 6 weeks afterwards, we teach you everything you need to know to actually grow the product that you have built. I hope to see you in any of those events. And if you are in Cologne, please stop by during Vibe Coding Cologne every first Wednesday of the month and let's meet and say hi. Cheers.